So, when was the last time you headed out the door and walked down the street completely naked?
Need a moment to think about that? While you do, stay with us here on CS311.
Crime Stop Jamaica 311 in association with TVJ, Musson Foundation, National Bakery, King Alarm and Grace Kennedy present CS311 with Deirdre Dixon and Leroy Hall.
You might not be a practicing nudist, or stripper for that matter. Without knowing it though, you may be bearing it all to the world. And while you're doing it, believe me, someone is watching.
If you have a laptop, tablet or cell phone, if you use a banking machine or have a smart appliance, in other words, if you live on the modern world, you are exposed. Our focus today is cybercrime.
Cybercrimes is a broad range of illegal activities perpetrated in cyberspace by the use of ICTs, which is information and communication technologies. Crimes perpetrated with the use of computers, and when I say computers, I'm talking about laptops, desktops, cell phones, and it involves any intentional act where a perpetrator made a gain or could have made a gain, or a victim lost or could have lost. The impact on cybercrimes in society has been quite enormous. Cybercrime is responsible for at least $1 trillion worldwide. In our reality, right back to Jamaica, we have lost millions of dollars. Cybercrime can also undermine the economy. It can also cause reputational damage, as also enormous downtime in businesses. We have seen where persons have been reduced to destitution, almost penniless. And generally, some of the perpetrators are persons who would not take money from, say, an older person up front, on the streets. But the fact that it has become faceless, they don't know the victim, they don't care about the victim, they have been taking monies from persons all over the globe. Cyber criminals are generally considered precocious, who are brilliant. They are persistent, so they will try and try until they get through. But generally they can be anyone. There are persons just leaving academia, they don't have a job. Then you also have the original man on the street, the con man that we know about in the 90s and 80s. They have also taken a life of crime, virtual crime, because there's no need to interface with the police. So in the comfort of their homes or in the bushes with their Wi-Fi modems, they can also, perpetrate cyber crimes. So there is no profile anymore of a cyber criminal, except that the fact that they are smart. Cybercrimes Act of 2010 was amended in 2015, and of course that legislation made criminal several offenses that we could not have prosecuted in the conventional setting. A spin-off to that legislation is also the Law Reform Fraudulent Transaction Act, which persons call the lottery scam legislation, has also made criminal several other offenses which are generally cybercrimes offenses or cyber-related offenses. And it does have stiff penalties because you can get up to 25 years. There are sophisticated ways being employed by the perpetrators, and it also requires technical know-how in order to get. So you have to be literate about technology. You have to have what they call the cyber guys in order to know how to root out the necessary information. And we are increasing in capacity and capability to be able to fight whether cybercrime is affected from Jamaica or overseas.
It only takes a moment of letting your guard down, a second of vulnerability to become a victim of cybercrime, in fact of crime in general. Criminals are always at work even when we least expect it. Lancil and Carita Gregory, aged 71 and 74, were retirees and returning residents, two helpless targets coming home from an evening at church. But tragedy struck before they reached their door.
Our featured crime today could have happened to just about any of us right at the entrance to our home. Take a look.
Corita Gregory and Lancel Gregory had been brutally murdered by depraved and heartless criminals, leaving behind nothing but heartache and grief for their family and community alike.
Crime has no respect for age or innocence. Having ended the lives of two defenseless people for no apparent reason, the criminals also stole several household items and the couple's 1990 Toyota Camry.
It has affected me in many ways. Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, Sundays. It's really difficult. Pictures, just anything that reminds me of my parents is really heartbreaking.
It seems like I don't have a heart. There's a hollowness in my heart, and I'm just walking around with an emptiness. I can't look at their pictures, their birthdays. It's really hard. Sometimes I don't want to even remember the day. Sometimes I can't really think about it because it's really, really hard. And it's affected me negatively.
It has affected me really, really bad because it was done on my birthday. And when my birthday comes around, it is hard. You can't celebrate your birthday at all. I feel like there's a hole in my heart. A piece of you is missing. You no longer has your mom nor your dad. You can't look at their pictures. You don't want to think about it. You don't remember it. If you're by yourself, that's all you think about. It is not easy to live without your parents, knowing that they were healthy and someone did this to them.
These are people, just as how you have your mother and your father, and you wouldn't like anyone to harm them. It's the same thing. I know for a lot of people, it's okay to do things to other people's parents, but they don't want anyone to touch their parents. It's a life. You can't breathe breath in man, so you shouldn't take life.
They need to respect the human life more and have more sympathy on people, on victims. And if you see something, say something. If you don't say something, you're just as involved as the murderers.
My message to Jamaica is love each other. Be each other's neighbors. Stop the killings. Don't take a life. You cannot breathe breath into anyone. And when you see something, speak up. Because if it was your family member, you would like someone to speak up so those people could be charged.
The vicious murder of Lancel and Corita Gregory took place between February 7th and February 8th, 2016, and still remains unsolved.
Their loved ones are appealing to you. If you saw or heard or know anything, please come forward. Call Crime Stop Jamaica 311. Technology can be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending on how you use it. Here are some things you should think about the next time you log in, click, or download.
Did you know? Brought to you by Musson Foundation. Cybercrime. Cybercrime refers to attacks against computer hardware and software for dishonest purposes, but also to the use of technology to boost traditional crimes, child pornography, theft, fraud, and illegal gambling. In 2016, approximately 689 million people in 21 countries were victims of cybercrime, including identity theft. It cost these victims $126 billion globally, and each lost almost an entire day dealing with cybercrime. RJR News reported that Jamaica lost more than $100 million from cybercrime alone. Cybercrime often happens because we let it. Cybersecurity experts warn that most persons do not take proper precautions to protect their digital lives. Sometimes even careless behavior can be considered criminal. The Jamaica Cybercrime Act of 2015 considers it an offense to use a computer to send data that is obscene, threatening, or menacing in nature. If a sender intends to cause or is reckless in sending data that causes annoyance, inconvenience, distress, or anxiety, this could be labeled an offense. This is still true even if the actual recipient of the data is not the person to whom the offender intended it to be sent. Ignorance of the law is no excuse in court. Some of these actions can carry penalties of up to $5 million and 20 years imprisonment.
It's one thing to expose your secrets, another to expose your hard-earned money. We checked in with National Commercial Bank to find out the latest on crime at the ABMs.
Here on the table, we have an array of devices used fraudulently to compromise ABMs in Jamaica. These are actual devices taken from ABMs and used fraudulently against you, against the organizations. Important to the working of a card is what they call the magnetic strip. It is on the magnetic strip that your information resides. When your card interfaces with an ABM or with a point of sale device, it is the magnetic strip that the ABM and point of sale device read to validate the transaction. Now that coupled with your PIN, whenever you're using a debit card, then allows the transaction to be processed to completion. Fraudsters will therefore attempt to capture the information from the magnetic strip, and they then use that information to create a duplicate of your card called a clone, and the process by which they use electronic devices to capture the information from your magnetic strip is called skimming. So skimming and cloning go hand in hand. Having skimmed and cloned, they now need your PIN in order to complete transactions on your account. For that, they also have devices that they use to capture your PIN. Over the years, fraudulent devices have progressed from the card reader overlay to the card reader insert, which fits into the throat of the reader, to the deep insert, which goes deep inside the card reader mechanism and is not visible to the naked eye. Pin capturing devices have progressed, moving from the pin pad overlay, which matches exactly the genuine pin pad, to spyware cameras that fit in or about the pin pad of the machine, to other spyware cameras that would fit above focus onto the pin pad, and even to fraudsters rigging the genuine light fixture of the machine. Rig it with their devices, reinsert the light fixture to do the capturing of pins. We at NCB want to assure the card using public that we have taken all the necessary steps to protect our machines from compromise, and that you can use the ABMs with confidence.
The only one who should be able to withdraw your funds is you. So, watch this scam.
money, 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 money. I hope you were listening to Mr. Parchment, because this could be your entire life savings at stake. Fix up. Look sharp when entering into an ABM and be wary of any parts that may be added, stuck on, or can be removed. Be aware. Be careful. If you discover any suspicious device in the vestibule, in the little room where them keep the machine, don't remove it. You might endanger yourself. Immediately call the bank's customer care center or the police or Crime Stop Jamaica 311. Don't be scammed.
Many of the criminals roaming around Jamaica are only free because someone is protecting them. Could that be you?
Devon District, near Chudley in Manchester, 10:20 p.m. on Tuesday, August 20, 2013. Paula Georgina Martin was in her one-bedroom apartment in the family home. Family members heard dogs barking and knocking on Paula's window and presumed a friend had come to visit. No one knows what transpired, but at 11:40 p.m. cries and screams were heard. Siblings went to investigate but were met with hostility from an unidentified man. After throwing a bottle, the man covered himself with a sheet and calmly walked away from the scene. He discarded the sheet in farmland behind the home, leaving the police to theorize that he must have been familiar to family members. The police arrived to find Paula Martin's body in her bathtub. She had a severe blow to her head and had been suffocated and strangled.
Well, it affected me very, very bad. Because I have the hypertension and most night I cannot sleep. Most time when I ready to sleep, I have to just jump up, get a little water to drink. And it is very, very hard and difficult.
It's not easy to wake up in the morning, especially when I'm in the kitchen, I see her green cup. Sometimes I drink out of it, and to know that she's gone. She can't come back. No more Paula. Paula can't come back.
If the person who did this act to my daughter, if he was a boyfriend of her, come and talk the truth why he did it. You see, for her, I don't know what's wrong. And it is not right, because directly he's from a mother and a father as well. You see, and that person's supposed to have children. And what he don't like for himself, he's not to do it unto others. And I would like them to come forward and talk what happened.
I don't know why he did it, but it's just hard. It's so hard. Sometimes I pray that he will have a change of heart. And that one day he will give his life over to the Lord.
She's very helpful, she works, she's not lazy. You see, and she's very attentive to me. You see, and that night, boy, I'm telling you, it's more painful up till now because I couldn't cry.
The family of Paula Martin is looking for answers. Can you help? If you know anything, the number to call is 311. Are you one of those who wakes up and stretches for the phone before you even greet your partner? Who goes out with friends and spends the entire evening staring at your screen? Who lives your life through Facebook and not face to face? Since we can't exist without technology, let's at least do it safely. Watch this.
Safety tips brought to you by King Alarm. In days gone by, people valued the personal touch. But today, we relate to each other through technology. The world's population is exploding, and so is our need to be constantly connected, even at the risk of endangering our safety. The experts warn.
Protect your account. Use strong passwords, upper and lowercase, letters, and special characters. Never use the same password for multiple accounts and change frequently to better protect yourself. Don't open suspicious or unsolicited messages or attachments from unknown sources. Don't click on links that you're not sure of. This could expose your device to malicious software. Be careful of messages that prompt you to download links or prompt you for personal information. And remember, even a friend's email can be compromised. Always looking for the latest app? Research before you download. Even the most innocent looking app could have malicious intent. And what about free Wi-Fi? Open Wi-Fi connections can be compromised. It's best to avoid doing sensitive transactions on these connections. And even when on a secure connection, don't recklessly provide personal and financial information. Look carefully at the URL addresses in the bar to ensure that this is the connection and the site that you intend to go to. And as for sites that ask you for sensitive information like passwords, ensure that the web page begins with a HTTPS and includes a padlock at the end. This indicates that this is a secure web page connection. Don't be guilty of cyber recklessness. It only takes one click to be exploited.
Just because we are exposed doesn't mean we have to surrender without resisting. We can join the fight against crime not with guns or knives, but being alert, smart, and staying one step ahead of the criminals.
Most of all, raise your voices. Speak out. Tell us what you know.
Thanks for joining us tonight. And once again, thanks to our sponsors, Musson Foundation, National Bakery, King Alarm, and Grace Kennedy. I am Leroy Hall.
And I am Deidre Dixon. Please stay safe until we meet again on CS311.